Hi, my name's Matsuri and welcome back to my channel where I review, rant and discuss about shows or movies that I've recently seen. And today's rant is on Chakushin Ari 2 or One Missed Call 2. So like last time, this one will be a rant instead of a review, so there will be spoilers ahead. So warning, if you haven't seen my first rant, I will put a time card here. Or maybe it's on this side, I'm not really sure. I mean, if it's not up here, then I'll put it in the description as well. So if you want to have a watch of that, you're welcome to. If not, enjoy. This one, I'm just gonna say it up. This movie sucks. Like, it is so bad that you probably should skip it even if you want to watch it. The reason why it was so bad was because it's not even scary. Like, I will forgive it and probably like it if it was scary like the first one, but they do this thing where they do random like jump scares with sounds, which is, if you're a fan of horror movies, it's 101 do not do rule. The other thing they do is the whole make the atmosphere feel scary so that you're anticipating a scare kind of thing, and I hate that as well, because if you're going for a scary movie, like, the whole movie should be like that kind of thing, you know what I mean? And not only is this movie not scary, but it's so forgettable. So this was like actually one of the reasons why I wanted to do a rant series for this one, because of how bad it is, and I have so much thoughts on this one. But like always, I will go through this rundown of the story just in case there are people who are wanting to see this movie. And then I'll go into my thoughts. So here's the rundown of the story. Our story takes place 1 year after the first movie. Our main character is Kyoko Okudera, a kindergarten teacher who is studying to be a child therapist. After a day at work, her co-worker and friend Madoka takes her to dinner to a Chinese restaurant where Kyoko's boyfriend, Naoto Sakurai, works. This is where we're giving the infamous ringtone. But instead of leaving it to become a missed call, the owner of the restaurant answers the phone, thinking it's some boy that called his daughter. Confused about what he heard, we see that Meifong, his daughter, is fine and gets angry at her father for taking her phone. We then cut to Kyoko, Madoka, and Meifong talking after the restaurant is closed, and this time we hear the ringtone from Madoka's phone. What the heck? This isn't my ringtone. Are you sure you didn't download it? I wouldn't download this creepy ringtone. Wait, haven't we heard that ringtone before? I don't think so. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know, it's from TikTok. What? What? Naoto! It then cuts to Naoto's scream as he finds Meifong's father dead in the kitchen. We once again meet Detective Motomiya, who was actually in the first movie but wasn't really important, so I never mentioned him in the first rant, but he's in this one, who has an off-the-record conversation with our second main character, Takako Nazoe. So did the victim have a candy in his mouth? Nope. Then how do we know this is a victim of the cursed call? I don't know, we're probably just both obsessed because you feel guilty that you let your twin sister pick up the phone and somehow drowned, and now you're troubled by headaches. Or because you feel guilty because you didn't believe Yumi in the first movie and then she killed Yamashita and then disappeared, so now you're obsessed in finding her. Can you just interview that kid to see if it was a curse call? Why not? I'm free. Takako talks to Naoto, asking him about the day of the accident, and asks if he heard the ringtone, to which he reveals to her that he heard it from Madoka's phone. Takako then asks Naoto to call Madoka, but is cut off by a strange noise. Meanwhile, Kyoko, who is looking after Mei Fong, has a video call with Madoka, when suddenly from Kyoko's point of view, a strange girl is behind Madoka. The phone call cuts off, and it is then Madoka realizes there's a voice message of her dying. Kyoko runs to Madoka's apartment only to find her friend's body in the bathtub. Naoto and Takako also arrived at the apartment only to hear the infamous ringtone coming from Kyoko's phone. To try and get to the bottom of the cursed call, the three of them go to meet Mimiko's grandmother. So, what can you tell me about Mimiko? Some guy assaulted my daughter, my husband killed that guy, he went to jail, then he went crazy, saying a little girl's chasing after him, and now he's back in Taiwan. What does that have to do with Mimiko? This is a plot point to get you to go to Taiwan. Oh. Here we meet Yuting, Takako's estranged husband, who tells her that even in Taiwan the curse calls are happening. So they all set off to Taiwan to find out the truth. So this is your second warning that there will be spoilers ahead, so if you want to, you're welcome to go watch the movie and then come back to this, or if you don't care, you're welcome to keep watching. As you can probably tell from the rundown of the story that I mentioned, this movie is confusing. There's so many plot points that don't lead anywhere, and like I said, it's not scary. Because there's so many issues with this, I put them down into 6 different points that I want to rant and discuss about, so here they are. So number 1 is the way that people die. So if you remember in the first one, if you get a phone call, you don't pick it up because obviously it's not your ringtone, and like in this day and age no one picks up their phone because scammers and also anxiety. And in this one, like, everyone picks up the phone while it's ringing. There's new plot point of this thing is, like, you can pick up the phone in place of someone else. So for example, like in the first death, Mei Fong's father picked up the phone, which was meant for Mei Fong, so you hear Mei Fong's voice, but because he picked it up, he died instead, which is fine because that's also kind of cool, but at the same time it defeats the purpose of the one missed call if there's no missed call. Number 2 is Yumi killing Yamashita. Now, you don't see this, but Motomiya says it, and if you see my first rant, you know why this is annoying me, because I made it a thing in that one that the ending confused me because it didn't make any sense, and in Wikipedia they said that because now Yumi's possessed by Mimiko, she's using Yamashita as a nanako. So I thought we were made to believe that they're gonna be together from now on. But if she killed him, then what was the point of the ending? Like, I feel like this movie is just trying to, well, this whole series is trying to give out like random plot points to make it scary, and I hate when like horror franchises and movies do that, because the more you make it not make sense, the more frustrating it gets, and then that's why it ruins the franchise. So I'm just gonna leave it at that because I'm getting annoyed by this, but ugh. Number 3, there was no point of telling us that Kyoko wanted to be a child therapist because that had nothing to do with the movie. I mean, the only reason why I said it in my rundown of the story is because at the very start, that was the one thing that they kind of like pushed. She was like, oh no, I need to study. And then her friend's like, it's okay, you don't need to study for a day, come drinking with me. And then it just turned out she wanted to study for a child therapist because she's this kindergarten teacher and she wants to work with kids. Like, it's really stupid because it's meant to make it seem like he can relate, well, not relate, but like empathize with the little girl in Taiwan. But if you hear her story, which I will tell because it's another one of my main issues with it, but like anyone can empathize with her. So I feel like the whole child therapist, child psychologist doesn't make any sense, and I don't understand because she has nothing. Like, at least in the first one, Yumi was, you know, a victim of child abuse, so it makes sense for her to want to, you know, go into a role to help, you know, children like her. But this one, like, Kyoko didn't have anything, so it didn't really make any sense. Number 4, the connection between the two girls is really stupid. So the girl ghost in Taiwan, her name Lily. So she lived in a village that, I guess it's a village that was close to the coal mines, and she was bullied by everyone because she would like talk to herself. You know, she was dark and like gloomy looking, like, you know, those things where it's like she looks creepy, so let's, you know, bully her, I guess. And so one day when she was bullied, she pointed at one of the boys and said, "You're gonna die in 3 days." And then he actually died. You know, she started doing that to like a lot of people. She'll just point to people and just say, "You're gonna die." And guess what people did? Like, guess what the adults did? And that's right, they tied her up, sewed her mouth shut, and locked her in the coal mines. Like, even if you're not a child therapist, you'll empathize with the fact that why the fudge would you do that to a little girl? Like, even if she was predicting cursing people, whatnot, I don't know, like, there could have been better ways than just sewing her mouth shut and then locking her in a coal mine. And like, this happened ages ago, apparently, in the story. And I don't know why, but they built a communication tower on top of the coal mine. So that's how she's been like killing people, by going through the communication tower and, you know, sending her phone calls, I guess, to kill people. Lily has been doing this cursed call thing for a while, and they mention in the movie that her call killed Mimiko, even though in the first one it showed that Mimiko was having an asthma attack. So it feels like they got like 2 rocks and they were like kind of mushing them together to see if, you know, they can make a complete story. Yeah, like, the other thing is they try to make it so that not completely related, but they are related in the sense that Mimiko's grandparents, or Mimiko's grandfather, is from Taiwan, and he was in that village, I guess. So that's how he got his call, and that call went to Mimiko. So that that connection. But again, that connection doesn't make any sense. Number 5 is the ending, or how it finishes. There's no way it ends. It's just continuing forever. Because at the end, so Kyoko got her phone call, which turned out to be a picture. And, you know, they find Lily, and then they try to run away from her. And then, because it was her time to die, she gets dragged away, and that's when her boyfriend Naoto, you know, grabs her phone, you know, takes the call instead of her, so he takes her place, and then he gets dragged away, and then it just ends there. Like, so it's not a complete like, we did it, we defeated the monster kind of ending. I mean, you could say that it did kind of end, because before they went to Taiwan, they deleted all the contacts in her phone and even broke the phone. There was no way for it to go to the next victim. But in the first movie, her friend Natsumi and Yumi, they went to, get a new phone, like destroy the phone that she has and get a new phone. So that would delete all the contacts in that one too. But, that still went to Yumi next. So I don't think there is an ending to this, which is kind of stupid. Like, I guess it just means that, they're just going to continue to kill people until there's no one left, I guess. Maybe they'll go to America, who knows. And my last one, number 6. So, like in the first one, there is a fake out ending, which isn't bad, but it doesn't make sense too. So throughout the movie, we're told that Takako made her twin sister pick up the payphone, and because of that, her twin sister died, and he feels guilty because he felt the pain, and also he heard her sister yell out no or stop it. I guess depending on what you think yamete is. The reason why he feels guilty about that is because at the time he felt like he was glad that he disappeared because her father did stuff to her, and he felt resentment towards her a bit. So this is why he feels guilty about letting her sister die. So once in a while she have these headaches and flashbacks of the incident of that day that occurred. So towards the end of the movie, Takako gets a call from Detective Motomiya telling her that they found Yumi's body and that he's going to go to where the body is, pretty much. But before we're able to understand what's going on in the phone call, it gets cut off. After that, Takako just reluctantly goes to the coal mines. Oh, by the way, her husband Yuting also got the call, so that's why she's trying to find out a way to stop it. So she goes into the mines and she sees one of the little girls and she screams and faints. And then she has this dream where she's back at the day where her sister picked up the phone, but instead of the sister picking up the phone, she stops her and she just starts apologizing, hugs her for forgiveness, and then she wakes up to realize it's nearly time for when Yuting's about to die. So she runs all the way back to his house, and keep in mind that he was actually at the abandoned village where Lily died, so who knows how far she actually is. Anyway, she makes it to the house to find a panicked Yuting, and he calms him down, and he's just like, all this time, I didn't want to be away from you, I'm really sorry. Oh, if past the time you're meant to die, you're fine. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way back to find Kyoko. So she runs all the way back to the village because there's an hour difference from when Yuting was gonna die and Kyoko was gonna die. Anyway, then the first ending happens where Naoto takes the phone call, dies. Then we cut to the hospital and we see Kyoko in bed and Takako is, trying to calm her down. And then she tells her, I need to report to Detective Motomiya. So she leaves the room, and once she leaves the room, 2 detectives from Taiwan come in and they ask her if they can ask her questions. And they ask her, do you know the 2 bodies that are at the coal mine? And then we cut to Takako outside the hospital, trying to get a hold of Detective Motomiya, and then they tell her that he actually died last night on his way to see Yumi's body. So she runs back to Yuting's house to find it completely empty except for a video, the camcorder that he has to film his death. So we have a look at it, and the events that happened before when she came to comfort him is actually completely different from what happened. So it was actually turned out that Takako came to kill Yuting. Why? So remember how I said that she saw a little girl and she fainted? Well, that girl turned out to be Mimiko, and Mimiko just straight up stabs her. So she died at that stage. And you're like, why is Mimiko there, you ask? Well, remember how I said Detective Motomiya called her? Yeah, now that turned out to be her missed call. So it went from Motomiya to her. So at the end, Takako goes into the bathroom to see that Yuting is actually dead. So she kind of slumps down, realizes there's a candy in her mouth. She kind of smiles, and that's how it ends. Now, I do like the whole twist that, what we were shown first wasn't what we were shown, like what was actually happening. Like, that kind of twist is really cool. Like, why did they add the twin sister thing? Like, it kind of seems like it was meant to be like her twin sister was gonna help her, but maybe her twin sister did not give a flying F about her. Like, that's what it seemed like. So this is why this movie is really confusing and frustrates me so much. But because it frustrates me and doesn't, isn't scary, that's why it's a forgettable movie, because I totally forgot all about that. So, my final thoughts, just straight up skip it unless this whole weird plot points interest you. I don't know, it just, while I was watching it, I was just more confused about what they were doing more than the first one. Like I said, it's not scary at all. You can see all the jump scares coming. There's a lot of things that don't make sense, which makes it much more frustrating the third time around watching it. Nothing makes sense in this movie. It's just a really confusing pile of garbage. But yes, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching this long rant. I don't actually know how long this is going to be. Hopefully not too long. But yes, give me a comment. Have you seen it, or did this make you want to see it because it's so bad? You know how sometimes there's like movies that you know is bad, but you still want to watch it, kind of thing. But yeah, maybe you want to watch it. Let me know. Did you like it? But yes, subscribe for more rants and reviews coming soon. Give me a like if you can, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.